The 3-beat weave is a classic of the poi world. For many people, it's the first trick they ever learned, and today I'm going to share with you my 5 favorite variations on this trick. Drex here from Drex Factor Poi, sharing with you the love of poi spinning and flow arts to benefit your body and brain. And today, I'm going to give you 5 different types of weaves that are going to blow your mind and amaze your friends. But before we dive in, I just want to give a quick shout out to the friends of the channel. Big thanks to Dark Bunk, Fire Mecca, Flow Fests, Flow Toys, Juggling Calling, Pyroterror Light Toys, Spinballs, and Ultra Poi for helping to make the videos on this channel possible. You can learn more about all these awesome companies and the work they're doing to support flow artists like yourself by checking out the links down in the description of this video. And special thanks to the non-business friend of the channel, Pekka Pekkonen. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, my work, and my mission. Now, if you're familiar with poi at all, you have absolutely seen somebody performing a weave in some way, shape, or form. Weaves involve carrying the poi back and forth across our body in a variety of different ways. They're the trick that inspired me to pick up poi in the first place, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I think that weaves sometimes get a bad rap because they're so associated with the beginner level of poi spinning that a lot of people just forget about them as they move on through their poi journey. And I think that that's a mistake because there's a lot to explore here and a lot of things that you might not even think of when we bring up the word weaves. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorites that utilize this concept, and I hope you'll either discover something new that'll be a great challenge for you, or connect some dots and realize that something that you had taken for granted actually fits into this world too. And now, without further ado, trick number 1, the 3-beat weave. So yeah, this is the trick that we all know and love, and that was the goal for many of us when we first started up our spinning. Any way you slice it, this move is an absolute classic that never gets old and never loses its style. Anybody who picks up poi at some point is going to learn it. And I honestly have to say that I sometimes take issue with how this move is positioned, because a lot of people kind of throw it at beginners and say, here, this is one of the first things that you should learn. And I think that there's a lot going on there, and it kind of turns into a way bigger hurdle for a beginner to get over than they really need to at the beginning of their journey. After all, getting down this trick involves getting down a solid split time same direction feel with your poi, being able to switch the poi back and forth across your body in a tic-tac, and adding that extra beat on your non-native side to be able to pass one hand over the other and repeat this pattern. All in all, there's actually a lot here that is deceptively difficult to have to get through. All that said, it also can't be denied that this move functions more or less as a stepping stone to get you to other stuff, including trick number 2, the archer weave. So it's funny to put this move on the list because it's essentially the exact same move as the last one that we covered, and yet such a minor tweak creates such a visually powerful difference between the two. After all, the archer weave is exactly the same pattern as the 3-beat weave. We're just extending one arm out completely away from our shoulder and holding the other one very close to that same shoulder. And yet something about that just makes the move look like something completely different and incredibly captivating. It has to be said that it actually looks so different that when I first tried learning this move, I assumed that it required a whole bunch of skills that I didn't have. It took years for me to realize, no, actually, it's the exact same move, just presented in a different way. Bonus points too, because this move is also one of the very first body tracers that many people learn. I also have to say that transitioning it into an archer weave fountain is one of my absolute favorite things to do in the poi world ever, so we're going to chalk this down as a whole lot of win. I hope you agree. Okay, so now I've given you what essentially are 2 kind of vanilla uses of the 3-beat weave, so it's time to start getting a little bit exotic. Trick number 3, the alien weave. So straight up, this is one of those weird techie things that Alien John created back in the day that many of us barely comprehended at the time, and looking back on it also realize it's like, wow, there was kind of a lot going on there. Essentially what this move is realizing that you can add and subtract beats to each side of a weave, such that you're doing what looks like a 5-beat weave on one side and a 2-beat weave on the other side, and miraculously winding up with a total of 3 downbeats in the process. This move totally fits all the requirements of a 3-beat weave in that there's a total of 3 downbeats for each poi, as well as the fact that you're switching up which hand is leading on each side. It just so happens to be that you're doing it by adding 2 degrees of twist on one side and having 0 degrees of twist on the other. I have to say, I also think that this is just a great exercise for getting to a 5-beat weave, because you can work your way up to adding that extra degree of twist on each side individually before adding the extra degree of twist on both sides. All that said, this is also an excellent bit of theory that reminds us that what we think of as a 3-beat weave might be a little bit deceptive and also a little bit more complicated than we think. Alright, so now that we've played around with the idea of adding beats to particular sides of a weave, there is another stop we have to make that is absolutely unavoidable, and it's actually going to involve subtracting hands rather than adding positions with them. Trick number 4, the meteor 3-beat weave. So, yeah, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're still doing 3-beat weaves, but now we have kind of radically reimagined what that actually means. Just like when we were playing around with the alien weave, meteor weaves also give us the opportunity to add and subtract beats to each side. In this case, normally when we perform a forwards weave with our meteors, we're doing a thumb-led 2-beat, but we can just as easily add an extra beat on one side to make one side of it pinky-led instead. And this gives us all the qualities we need to get a 3-beat weave. I'm not going to say that this is the prettiest thing that we have on this list, though it is really useful in creating flowers with meteors, but at the same time, it's good to know that we can extend the idea even into meteor world. And just like the alien weave, this is an excellent exercise for controlling the number of beats we have on each side of our meteor weaves. See if you prefer adding in that pinky-led side on either your back side or your front side. I'm really curious. So real quickly, before I share with you the final trick on my list, for those of you out there that are still working on some of the lower tier tricks on this list, I have a resource that will probably be helpful to you. The Flow Circle is a weekly exclusive lesson that is available only to my Patreon supporters. This month, I'm focusing on 3-beat weaves, and specifically on the performance potential of them. The first lesson is already up, and it covers how to explore volume with 3-beat weaves. In future weeks, we're also going to be covering things like how to add and subtract beats to each side. Make sure to go sign up for that now over at patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi. And now my final pick for my top 5 favorite 3-beat weaves of all time is trick number 5, the isolated 3-beat weave. Okay, so if there's a version of the 3-beat weave that comes with the hard mode dialed up all the way, this is definitely it. Isolations are challenging enough in and of themselves, but performing them in such a way that you can perform a 3-beat weave with them, oh my goodness, this one took me years to learn. I remember hearing about people performing this weave back in the day, and I finally saw it demonstrated in the Arizona transmission video that Zan Moore and Alien John did many years ago. I made it a goal to learn each and every trick in that video, and you know what? This one was the last one that I got. Still to this day, I barely ever see this trick performed, and with good reason. It's a huge challenge. But you know what? It is also a challenge that rewards those who go to seek it, because you learn a lot of really awesome skills in the process. And that's why it is my top pick for my favorite 3-beat weave of all time. What did you think of my list? Are there any variations on the 3-beat weave that I left out that would have been on your list? Leave me a comment and let me know. This video would not be possible without my amazing supporters on Patreon. In particular, I'd love to give a shout out to my Flow patrons who are listed on screen right now. Thank you all so much for supporting my channel, my work, and my mission. And if you all out there watching also want to sign up to support my work, well, there's an easy way to do that. Head on over to Patreon and sign up at patreon.com/DrexFactorPoi. There you can get access to a whole host of awesome rewards, but better than that, you'll be helping me out in my mission to bring poi spinning and flow arts to the whole wide world. So go check that out, please and thank you. And if you're struggling with a topic we didn't talk about in this video, namely doing reverse 3-beat weaves, I've got an entire video that'll break it down for you in a bunch of really easy to understand exercises. I'll go ahead and link to that video down in the description as well as up here on screen. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to get out and flow yourselves today, and I'll see you with a new video real soon. Take care now. Peace.